Hey everybody, I'm going to give it a couple seconds to see who pops in. Uh, Sitting here in the wonderful Trahan living room. Once again, forgot about the goddamn light. And we will be hopefully having an awesome discussion today. Hi Lisa. Hey kiddo, how you doing? Dozbog coffee does the body good. They should pay me money for how much I push those. All right. So hopefully everybody has had an okay couple weeks. It's been a while since I've been here. We had the first inaugural Masters of Mayhem seminar about 2.5 weeks ago. Doing good, kiddo. Down in Lubbock, Texas, it was Edwin, Clint, and I. Went awesome. Lots to build off of, lots of interest brought up. Already got a couple more interested in booking it. Then after that, I went to Seattle and did I was there for visiting a couple personal things, and then did a seminar in Chehalis, Washington, which was very well attended. We're going to be going back in October. Awesome experience there. Got to see Rory, which was awesome. Met a couple people. It was really awesome. Other than that, just been getting back into it, taking care of things that fell apart while I was gone, and just in general. So what I wanted to talk about today was congruency in life, training, and gear. And what I mean by that is we're training self-defense, we're training personal protection. What you need to do in order to make that effective is make it fit your life. You don't mimic the people you train with because you don't have their life. You just take the lessons from them and apply it to how you already live. One of the easiest ways to explain it, and don't take this as an insult at all, but firearms people who run all the gun games, IPSC or IDPA or whatever. Awesome training, awesome stuff to get into, but you have to take that training and apply it to your regular life. You're not going to be wearing the knee pads and the boots and the battle belt and all that stuff in your normal everyday life. That's a good way. The games are a good way to get skill going, but then you have to take that and practice in your concealed carry mode, in your everyday clothes, stuff like that. Another one is all the different Kali or knife programs that have special holsters and harnesses and aprons and stuff to carry 16 knives in. And that makes training easier, but it doesn't mimic how you're going to be walking around every day. And so the actual applied value for the training, I think, is missing. It's an important piece. Keep in mind that all of this and all training is just pieces of what we do to make ourselves better. One thing does not cover it all. So I recommend going out for the gun games. I recommend training with unrealistic gear at times because it teaches you something. But then when you want to relate it back to real life, you have to get in your street clothes. You have to carry a trainer that matches what you always carry, not one that's 17 inches long that mimics a machete from the Philippines. You know what I mean? And then you have to do it in situations that you would find yourself in everyday life. Have you practiced, if you ride the bus, have you practiced your personal protection or your de-escalation skills sitting on one of the two-seater benches with something moving and it shaking back and forth? That throws a little obstacle into how you normally would move. If you work in an office, have you started out by practicing your skills sitting at a desk, or you have to take care of that? Because that's a big obstacle that you have to get over. Everything we do to train has to be done with an eye towards how we're actually going to use it. In the beginning, when you first start training, it's overwhelming. You don't see all the different pieces that go into it because you're just trying to keep up with what your instructor is trying to throw at you. As you go along, you take those lessons and you apply them down to, okay, this great example as far as like real life knowledge and how to seek it out for making it personal to your life. When I got the shotgun, I have a really, really good friend, Christopher Sanchez, runs Buckshot University. You should look their page up. It's on Facebook here, and they also have a website on WordPress. But when I got that, he's the shotgun guy, so I called him up, asked him, what do you recommend? And one of the first pieces of advice he gave me was to measure out the distances that I would normally be shooting at. Well, my shotgun is a home defense weapon. So the measurements that I would make out are, from the bedroom to the front door, from the back bedroom into the living room, from the kitchen to the dining room or the living room. Not that great of distances. We're talking less than, less than 10 yards. And write those down, and then pattern your buckshot, when you get out to the range. Know how it breaks up at those distances, so you know what your pattern's going to be. So that's taking training and bringing it down to the level of where I live. Hey, Paul, thanks. Another way is those of you who have attended knife classes with me, I don't insist, but I strongly recommend having a trainer that matches what you carry and carrying it in the same place that you normally do. That way, when you're training and you're training your draw under duress and everything, you start building those patterns in. It's personalized to you, and that's congruency. That's taking what you normally do and excuse me, applying it to your normal life, taking the training and applying it to your normal life. If you don't do that, you're going to have trouble accessing that training as you go along. That's the other reason, like why, Rory, me, what we do at Vidi is all built off of slow drilling, so you can burn those in. You have to know under real force, real pressure, you have to know that you're going to be able to perform what it is that you're trying to perform. You can't do that going fast. Speed covers a shitload of mistakes. And when you make mistakes in training, it's a chance to fix them. If you make mistakes in real life, that might be the end. So you need to keep everything on an even keel, on an even level. Understand what you're doing. If you're training a draw, that's not training gunfighting. If you're training gunfighting, that's not necessarily training the aftermath. You have to do that separately, and then try to bring them all together and put them into one package that you can use. Everything has to go together as a whole. We try to approach it as a holistic thing. I don't get in my sports fighting mindset to do self-defense. I don't take self-defense out of the picture when I'm cooking dinner, because you never know what might happen. It's not living paranoid. It's living your life in a layered fashion that you can always take care of what's going on. And you don't do that by separating it in your little boxes. When you have training, some people do a lot of cross training, and you'll have Muay Thai on one day and boxing the next day, wrestling after that, jiu-jitsu, gun training, knife training. Whereas when you start rolling and put together your own personal defense, personal protection program, you start integrating all of it. Why not do your wrestling while wearing a training knife, so you can, go over both of those at the same time and see how it integrates? Training needs to replicate as much as possible what you normally do. And the same goes with training gear. You guys know I push the TACMED stuff, the trauma care. Once again, Saturday, March 31st, there's going to be the National Stop the Bleeding Day. Stopthebleeding.org. Go there, see if there's a free class in your area, go to it. But even they recognize what's needed for training. They have training materials, training tourniquets, so you don't wear yours out. Everything has to go into a whole. And if you don't get that, you're not getting a holistic picture of how to take care of yourself in any different circumstances. Like I said, if you got any questions, pop them down in the comments here. Just had this little bit about congruency because it bothers me. I see so many things being separated. It's one of the things I like about teaching with the Vidi people is that it all integrates. One builds off of the next. And that's what we try to do. Like in Mom, we start with our base class for the morning, and that's what builds everything that comes after it. So whatever you do, whatever your teacher tells you, don't argue with them right there. That's kind of disrespectful. But Try to take it, write notes, take it down to your level, see how it applies to where you are. You know, if your training consists of boxing and you're a 5'2", 210-pound female, it might not be the best thing for you. Take a look at how you actually can apply it. Ooh, Paul, what are some of my favorite resources for trainers? Actually, knife makers who make their trainers to match what they already make. I'll do a little show and tell here in a couple minutes, but there's a few knife makers out there, Mickey Yurko, JB Knife and Tools, Xavier Knox. They're all top-notch defensive knife makers, and they make trainers with sheaths that match what you buy. That's the best way to go to get it done by the maker who does that design. Other than that, there is, you know, folding knife trainers available through Kershaw for the Emerson series. Who else? Spyderco sells some drones for the Endura and the Delica, and the Wave Endura and Delica, and the Pikal. But yeah, I'm sure more knife makers will start making trainers if they get pushed, so ask them. But the three that I mentioned, Mickey Yurko, JB Knife and Tool, Brian Moreland and John Stubbs, and Xavier Knox from South Africa already do that. They have great prices, they have great product, and they put together an awesome package. It's very important if you carry a fixed blade to get a trainer that has a sheath. That way you can do everything with the draw as is would be from when you're actually using the knife. So another place for some just general trainers, Zabo Inc. It's SZABOINC.com. He sells some trainers. He sells specifically trainers for some of Fred Perrin's stuff, the LeGriff and the neck bowing, stuff like that. I highly recommend Fred's stuff, as most people know, but he doesn't generally make trainers for them. Other than that, it's hit or miss. It's not a large industry. Not a lot of people spend money on it, so there's not a whole lot of people who do it. The ones who do it are really serious. So I'll keep an eye on the comments to see if there's any more questions, but I'm going to go into the show and tell thing. A couple months ago, I got contacted by a guy, Nathan Two Eagles Downing, who runs Silverline Knife Design down in Colorado Springs. And he had attended a couple of my classes and said he was making a knife for me. And this is what showed up in the mail. As you can see, the sheath is actually very well put together. It's got the nice little Tracker Dan style clip on it. Straight handle, kind of a dagger profile, spear point type dagger profile, sharpen on one edge, and then the false edge is sharpened about a third of the way back. Nice aggressive handle jimping, stays in your hand very well. How can you tell, Nick, hey, how can you tell a safe trainer drone from an unsafe one? Tactile feel. Run your fingers over the edges. If there's burrs in it, take some sandpaper, emery cloth, and rub that thing down. If it's made out of plastic, I pretty much reject them because if they split, they splinter. Same with wood. Remember, there's different trainers for different things too. One thing I forgot to mention, I neglected, Knock hard contact trainers from over in, I think it's Thailand, make foam covered, that hardcore, but foam covered, so you can go hard with them. Steel trainers are good for access. They're good for drawing. They're good for fighting to the draw. They're good for light contact, but they're not good for heavy contact. When you go to my knife classes, I use the foam. I buy like fucking, what do you call it, pipe insulation, and tighten it up, wrap it up with a couple layers of duct tape or electrical tape, and that way you can use full contact when you are going through the actual stabbing and slashing portion of the class. So biggest thing for safety as far as training drones go is use it for the right job. Don't use your steel trainer as a full contact trainer. It should be obvious, but you'd be surprised. I always tell the story about the guy getting the trainer driven through his forearm because they lost control and he was in a live steel trainer. Um, yeah, they take quite a while to get to you. Sometimes they're available stateside, but the websites that carry them are changing constantly. So I recommend getting on the list. Anyway, back to this knife. He calls it the Mongoose. Apparently, he is making these for the Piper guys in South Africa. This is Mongoose M-006. It's a little rough. I like the rustic look of it. Gave him some pointers on how to make it better. You know, just a few things that he needs to pay attention to. Really good up and coming maker. I highly recommend it. Once again, one of the things that I always look for in a knife is a good sheath, and this is a really, really good sheath. Got enough space here for you to access with a full convulsive grip, get a good grip around it. The sheath doesn't come up all the way up and hide the handle from you, so you have to get a weak grip like this before you can grab onto it. So that was a really nice surprise and a present. When we were doing the mom seminar down in Lubbock, I had already known I was going to meet Brian Moreland from JB Knife and Tool. He had booked at the seminar. And so I was expecting the hybrid that I helped come up with to be shown up there. But we got there Thursday night. So we had Friday to hang out and get things together. Edwin was there because he's one of the masters of mayhem. And he had designed a knife with Xavier Knox in South Africa called the Vixen. And he had a set made for him, Clint and I. And so here's the Vixen. Very interesting design. If you're into knives at all, it has some from the K-Bar TDI, but the handle shape has been, everything's going backwards from what I'm used to. Has the handle shape modified. It has a corrugated G10 handle, which really increases the grip. The choil's a little bit better. And the blade shape lends itself more to slashing and to thrusting. If you look at how it's held in the hand, I hold it in a straight grip. My wrist is aligned. It drives straight in. The back edge is not sharpened. It's a false edge, but it won't take much to take that up to a full edge. The sheath system is wonderful with it. Once again, as I was talking about with the Mongoose, enough of the handle is out and it's got a cutout where the choil is, so you can get a full grip on it when you want to draw it. Multiple attachment points. You could use a soft loop. You can use paracord for a static line carry, and this little clip, which looks like one of the ones off of the DeSantis holsters, which I really like. I carry a DeSantis when I'm carrying my snubby. I just got it attached with one screw so it can rotate and ride with me because I carry it front centerline carry, the handle going across where my belly button is. And so when it's sitting there like this, just one draw, boom. Really, really nice design. I don't know if you can see it or not, if it comes out in the video, but it is labeled Brothers for the inaugural seminar. So that was pretty nice. And going back to what I was saying about being important, the other thing that was really, really nice is that it came in the same package with a nifty trainer that I could set the sheath up with the same exact carry. No sharp edges on it. Not even on the false edge. There's no grind lines on it. It's lightened out with the holes, so it mimics the same weight since the grind is not there. Fits the hand perfectly, and it makes practicing so much easier. This oversized handle really makes the grip solid and secure, and when you can mimic that in your training knife, it's a really nice thing. So that was really groovy. And like I said, I knew Brian Moreland from JB Knife and Tool down in Texas was going to be there, and we had started working a while ago. I did a review for him for the Sackett on a CRGI, which is, the Sackett is their small reverse, or their small foregrip edge up, reverse grip edge, and self-defense knife. It's a really, really awesome knife. One thing I liked the most about it was the handle. And they have another offering in their lineup called the Pick. The Pick is an awesome, about this size here, awesome fighting knife, got a nice Persian profile to it. So I started thinking, yeah, if the Pick and the Sackett had a love child, what would it look like? And would it be pretty decent to use? And I thought it would. So Brian and I started talking. He went through a couple of prototypes with it. And this is the end result. This is the Sackett handle, probably enlarged about 1.5 times over what the Sackett normally is. provides an awesome grip. Got the little pinky catch here. Get a full concussive grip, convulsive grip on that without riding up onto the blade. There's a nice little choil here for backstop and on the top. They offer them in 3 different edge configurations. Bottom edge sharpened, top edge sharpened, or double-edged. I opted for a double-edged one because that's just how I am. JB Knife and Tools logo is right there. Really, really awesome knife. Really good for thrusts, for slashes. If you throw it into reverse grip, you have it. The point is a little off just for straight RGEI use for reverse edge methods, but it works really well. I've already done some meat testing with it. It's not as much of a detriment as you think, and once it gets in, it really rips out really, really well. I highly, highly recommend this. That's jbknifeandtool.com. Their game is going so far up. They use a really thick stock, so really, there's good weight in the handle. Balance point is right about here. So I'm really happy about how this came out. I highly recommend it. And once again, just to prove the point, a good defensive knife maker makes a trainer. Training knives that match what you carry. This is an awesome trainer. Same weight, maybe a little bit more blade heavy, but not much. It's not noticeable. I don't know if you can see it or not, but they put the weasel on there for me. There you go. My little weasel logo on there. Good thing it's not on the live blade if I ever had to ditch it for use, but I really dig that. JB's logo on the front. Matches the same length. Like I said, maybe a little bit heavier, but this is an awesome, awesome trainer. Once again, it's a steel trainer. You do not want to be using it for a whole lot of hard contact, but for access, draw, and point work, it works amazingly well. My guys are going to be very unhappy with it when they come over for training on Saturday. Then when I did the seminar up in Washington, hey brother, how's it going, Clint? When I was doing the seminar up in Washington, we had a gentleman there who is an instructor under Gabe Suarez. His name's Brent Yamamoto. Really, really nice guy. And he designed one of the brass tools that Suarez sells, his Choir Boy series, I think he calls them, you know, little brass, basically they're knuckles that are bottle openers, or bottle openers that are knuckles, however you want to go. And he was carrying the one that he designed, and I kind of fell in love with it, and luckily enough, he gifted it to me at the end of the class. And so here it is. Basically what we have here is what used to be known as a bartender's tool. This is just a little bit thicker, a little bit better balanced. Got a finger ring instead of having the bottle opener here. The bottle opener is down here, so you can have around your finger. Got a little single finger nut there. Got a nice impact end here. There's a chisel in case you have to, you know, break up the ice or whatever. I really dig this. This is probably one of my favorite pocket sticks available right now. And it's also just great to sit and flip while you're talking with people, and it's fun. But I highly recommend go to what is it? One Source Tactical, I think is his gear store, onesourcetactical.com. I forget what this one is called, but it is awesome. And Brent, you did an awesome job on this, and thank you for the gift. One thing I like to point out, it's got a little cutout right here in the handle where the ring is, so it slides right over your pocket on your jeans, so it's real quick, real easy draw. So that's basically all the show and tell that's going on. SuarezInternational.com, and it's the Heretic. Thanks, Brent. It's an awesome tool. I've played with it. I love it. I'm going to push it at the seminars that I do until I design another impact tool myself. Then I'll probably push it alongside with it. But getting back to the show and tell part mixed with what I was talking about, the knives match the trainers. The location of carry matches the trainers. There's people who have the training guns that match what they carry, and they holster them, you know, in the same place they carry every day. That's congruency, and that's how you get this to be a lifestyle. It does no good to separate it all and then trip all over yourself when you have to apply it for real. One of the biggest things that I harp on, and we got into it really hard in the Washington class, is draw access of your weapon under duress, fighting to the draw. It doesn't matter if it's a knife, if it's an impact weapon, or if it's a gun. Your draw is not going to be free. You have to fight for it. And you don't learn that unless you get that congruency in your training where you start integrating everything. With that said, unless there's some more questions that pop up, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This will be up on the page here in a little bit. I really appreciate all y'all showing up. I'm going to hang out for just a couple, see if any more questions or comments or jokes or whatever come up. If not, oh, my cat's crying at me. If not, I will be done here in just a minute. Thanks for showing up, guys. We'll do this again soon. Nothing coming up, so I'll talk to you later. I'll keep checking back comments in case there's questions that come up afterwards. Have a good one.